We're going to look at mics today, budget choices, and by budget I mean you can buy a pair for around $1,000 or less. So we're going to look at them in pairs, recording a piano, a grand piano, and then we're also going to look at a couple of other instruments. I'm going to do a bit of recording on the clarinet and a little bit on steel string guitar, neither of which I claim any proficiency in, but you'll be able to hear the difference between the mics. So we're going to use them in pairs on the piano. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to set them up as a spot mic on the guitar and the clarinet, but then I'm going to put up a kind of ambience mic so you can hear what it sounds like at a distance as well. Now we've got 3 large diaphragm condensers to have a look at, 3 small diaphragm condensers and a ribbon. So just before we jump in, I'm just going to tell you what my recording chain is. Basically, I'm going from the mics, I'm going into the Apollo X8P. It's absolutely clean all the way in. I'm not putting any kind of effects or any kind of plugins or anything like that. Just going straight in. I've level matched these as closely as I can so that you're not going to be hearing differences in volume between the mics. You're only going to be hearing the differences of the actual sound of the mics. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the mics. So the first large diaphragm condenser we're having a look at is the AKG C214. Comes with a really nice shock mount as well. Generally I find this mic to be full. It's got plenty of body, it's bright, clear, solid and kind of present. It has a low end roll off and a 20 dB optional cut. Next up is the SE4400A. This comes with, you've got 2 options for cut, a 10 dB and a 20 dB cut. You've got low end roll off as well, 2 different options for that, and it's multi-pattern. So you've got lots of different patterns you can use, but I've set it for cardioid to match the other LDCs that we're using. That also comes with a nice shock mount as well. Characteristics of this, again, a really nice solid sound, maybe a little bit toppier than the AKG. Next up is the Orpheus from Sontronics. This is again has got a cut, 10 dB cut. It's also got 10 dB boost. It is also multi-pattern, but again, I've set it to cardioid to match everything else that we're doing. So have a look at that. Solid feeling bit of kit. This one allows, even in cardioid mode, allows more room in. It's got a nice clear sound, just a slightly different flavour again to the other 2. Small diaphragm condensers. So the first one up is the AKG C451B. This has also got cut, 10 and 20 dB cuts, and it's got your low end roll off as well. It has 1 pattern with the capsule on the top. It's a lovely, beautifully made bit of kit, nice and solid. And this again has a very full bodied, clear sound, really solid and present, very, very similar. I mean, it's a different sound, but in the characteristic of it is very similar to the larger AKG. The SE8 up next. Again, you've got the cut on the back and you've also got 2 different settings for low frequency roll off. Again, it's lovely, solid, heavy and beautifully made bit of kit there. Slightly less body than the AKG, but it's a little bit brighter, it's a little bit sparklier. So again, horses for courses, slightly less present sounding, because you've got that kind of high end, and again that really makes a difference in the room when you're using it as a room mic. Next up, the Sontronics STC1S. This has the same settings, a 10 and 20 dB cut, and also 2 different types of low frequency roll off. Again, lovely, really solid, well made mic. It is very similar in characteristic to the AKG, but it's slightly more restrained sounding. It's not quite as forward. So that's interesting. When we listen to the clarinet, you'll hear what I mean. And finally, just to throw a bit of a different sound in, I am looking at these SE Voodoo VR2s, recommended to me by Simon Rhodes, and this is absolutely beautifully made mic. It really is lovely. It's got a great sound. It's as you would expect from a ribbon mic. It's incredibly warm. You're obviously getting less high frequency content in there, but it's got this kind of lush, dark, warm, mysterious kind of sound. So really love that, absolutely great. Interesting, different kind of sound to all of the others. So let's get playing. Now I'm very deliberately going to, the way that you'll see that I've mic'd up the piano, I'm very deliberately not going right in as close as I can because a couple of reasons. Firstly, you can't get all the mics in anything like the same position, so you're already changing the sound. The further out you go, the more chance you have of getting a kind of better comparative sound. That does apply as well. I want to be able to play something, and obviously I can't get all sets of mics in at once, but I want to be able to play something and then for you to be able to compare exactly the same performance as much as you can. So we're doing all of the large diaphragm stuff together and then the small diaphragm stuff and the ribbon together. And again, when we do the bit of clarinet and the bit of terrible guitar, really not a guitarist, you'll see I'm not miking it. You know, if you were going to do that really kind of intimate guitar sound, then obviously you would put the mics much closer. But what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get a comparative. So I'm going for just a distance that gives you a little bit of air, a little bit of the sound of the room as well. I'm not going for the sound right up its hooter. So bearing all that in mind, let's jump straight into the comparisons. I'll play, firstly, I'll play a little bit of music through and I'll switch slowly through the mic so you can hear, you know, a few notes with each different thing. Then I'll find a characteristic part of that sound, something which I think shows the differences between the mics, and I'll replay that section just a couple of seconds very quickly with each mic in turn so that you can hear really clearly from one mic to the next what the differences are. Okay, let's go. So there we have it, a collection of mics, really great collection actually. I'm really pleasantly surprised by how good quality these are, and any of these mics would be fantastic and get the job done for pretty much anything you're going to record in this kind of environment, a kind of home recording environment. A lot of us are recording our music in less than ideal acoustics, less than ideal environments, which is why I'm using the on-camera mic to talk to you now, so you can just hear the ambience of this room, which is, it's got a little bit of ring in it. It's not sound treated, but we often have to make the best of the situation that we're in, and that is why I'm looking at these mics in this environment. It's a little bit silly to look at mics for home recording when you're going to deliberately kind of record them in a $5,000 a day studio. To be honest, I would use any of these mics to record pretty much anything. They all work, do a perfectly serviceable job on almost everything you can record. You're not going to get the sound of a $10,000 mic out of a $500 mic, that's obvious. But these are all really, really good quality. And when you get to this kind of level, some of these choices are, there's not a lot to choose between them. So it's just listening out for the slight change in characteristics between them to see which one would kind of suit your aesthetic the best. But they're all good choices. Finally, I just want to say a quick thank you to Sound Technology, link below, for lending me the AKG mics to test out, to Focusrite for lending me the SE mics to test out, and finally to Sontronics for lending Christian the mics, which I've borrowed off him and will definitely be winging their way back to you shortly. Thank you very much to all of these great companies making fantastic products to help us make better music. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.